Hello everybody, this is John. Welcome to the NCGA Merschman Seed Ag Weather Outlook for June 17th, 2017. You might have heard about some of the building heat over the southwest, and in some ways that's good for the Corn Belt because what that's going to do is that's going to sort of buckle the jet stream over the central part of the U.S., and that'll bring some cooler air down, which will sort of help us not get blistering hot temperatures this time of year early in the season. And I think that's generally good. It keeps our soil moisture in check and overall helps us. Now, there's been some needed rain this past week. I'll be talking about that. I'll also be talking about the tropics. Let's keep an eye on the tropics. But start out, let's look at what's going on right now as far as temperatures. And we do have some variability. We have that unusually hot weather over the southwest U.S. That's that area in red. We also have this area of some cooler temperatures up here. And if it was winter time, I'd be saying this is that source region. But to some degree, it also works in summertime, and that is likely to sort of sag south and bring us some cooler weather over the middle part of the nation. Now, you might have noticed a post I put out this week showing how dry it's been. The title was Emerging Dryness. And I want to sort of set the stage here. Even though we had a very good spring as far as rainfall over most areas except the Dakotas, more recently, it's been quite dry, so we needed more rain. Continuing over the upper Midwest, we definitely needed some more rain over Iowa, northern Missouri, good parts of Illinois, parts of Indiana, and Michigan. So let's compare that what we got last week. This is the last 7 days. Most of this came in a pretty good area, but it was variable. For example, this area here in Illinois, hardly any rain. This area up here, between 2 and 3 inches. So we did get some needed rain in spots, but it was variable. It was not enough necessarily, but in some areas it was pretty good. We actually made up a lot of the deficit in some areas. So we still need some more rain, but we had overall a pretty good week. Here are your soil moisture deficits. Right now, the more significant ones remain over North Dakota, parts of South Dakota where it's quite dry. Also parts of Wisconsin, quite wet. Everywhere else, it looks to me like it's either a little bit on the wet side or a little bit on the dry side or pretty close to normal. As far as temperatures go, well, that heat was definitely over the region over the last week. And we're going to be getting in a transition, and with that, there's going to be a chance of some severe weather as the battle of that cooler air pushing down and the entrenched warm, or I should say hot and humid air. So this week, there's the battle here. We have a ridge of high pressure over the southwest U.S. We have a digging trough over the middle part of the U.S. Oftentimes this we get, I call it an amplified flow. We get a ridge of high pressure, and that results in a dipping of the trough in this region, another ridge of high pressure. That's an amplified flow. On the other hand, we can have a straight east to west flow. So it looks like we're going to be dominated once we get the transition, which would be today, which is Saturday, over most areas, and that will bring in some cooler air, not necessarily real extreme, but near normal to a bit below normal over most of the Corn Belt over the next 5 days. And you can see that transition right here. This is the current time, and you can see this will be later on Saturday, and we do have that front. Severe storms associated with that, and here's a secondary cold front, and this is your cooler air pushing in. So I mentioned that severe weather threat. Here we go. This is the enhanced risk. Remember, severe weather threat goes from marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, or high. Enhanced is a pretty good threat, so I would be alert to severe weather in the slight area and especially the enhanced area. As far as hurricanes go and tropical weather, well, there are a couple things to look at. And, I do cover tropical weather because even though it's not as common to get it into the middle part of the nation, it can bring some very heavy rain, and it can either help or hurt our soil moisture. So anyway, we have a couple systems out there, but that one marked number 2, 20% chance of development. And if it develops, it could move off into the Gulf of Mexico over the next 5 days. The current models bring it up into the central Gulf of Mexico, but I think this week of system, there's really hardly any confidence in saying what that will do at this time. Let's keep it on it. If it continues to develop, I'll talk about it as we go through the week. So here's your precipitation. Overall this week, it's not all that impressive, just some scattered precipitation. Where it falls, it'll be needed over that northern Illinois, parts of Missouri. That's good. I don't see much again over the Dakotas, a little bit, but it's not going to do much to alleviate the soil moisture. Then as we get, this is the next 5 days, I wanted to sort of show you that some of that tropical moisture right now is feeding into the south central U.S. over days 6 and 7, but that's way out there. So I think right now the greater confidence is this one right here, and that's indicating just some modest precipitation, fairly quiet over the middle part of the nation. Now if we get into the 6 to 10 day period, well, that ridge of high pressure over the southwest U.S. remains in that area. We have a lingering trough of low pressure. 6 to 10 days, here we go. Still either near normal temperatures or in blue, a little bit below normal. Now we're into the middle or the end of the month of June into early July. And it looks like at that time, at least according to models, the ridge of high pressure breaks down over the southwest U.S. It spreads into the middle part of the U.S. and that warms temperatures up. So a summary of temperatures for the Midwest, the Corn Belt, looks like we're going to have a transition this weekend. We're going to be bringing in some cooler air. Then we're looking at normal or maybe even a bit below normal temperatures right through most of the end of the month of June. At that time, it looks like it could warm up again. So I mentioned precipitation this week, not all that organized, unfortunately, over the upper Midwest. You can see that yellow. Where it needs more rain, it does not look like that's going to occur, at least not of significant rain. Couple areas, Missouri, Illinois, and surrounding regions, more needed rain, a couple inches in spots. Sort of interesting here, at least this one ensemble model shows that tropical system, but don't get too excited about that. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. Now week 2, here we go. Week 2 does have at least some areas of the Midwest getting some adequate rainfall. And I think that's a story. Variable rainfall, adequate rainfall. Some areas getting a needed beneficial rainfall, other areas not. So when we look at soil moisture changes, overall, because rainfall looks fairly on the light side and it is summertime, we are looking at most areas, soils modestly drying out. Now some areas that don't get as much rain, darker brown, that's more significant drying out. I want to again remind you, if you want to sign up for the new Weather Decisions Planner, I know quite a few have. Here's where you can sign up, bwodecisions.com/ncga/ncga.-WDP. And take a look at it. You can always unsubscribe at any time. So your takeaway, there is a severe weather risk today over parts of the middle U.S. Otherwise, that cooler weather will be pushing in. It should last most of the rest of June. Variable rainfall, mainly over the central and eastern Corn Belt, and I think the north central U.S., which is getting very, very dry, looks like it's going to lag. Well, we're just heading right through June here, zipping right through it. I hope it's going well for you and all your operations are going as planned. I hope you all have a great week, and I will be talking with you again and providing a briefing next weekend. Take care.